Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secureteam. Well, today I want to talk to you about a few things. First, we're going to talk about one of the best smoking gun images that you probably will see. And one of the reasons why it's so good is because it comes straight from the horse's mouth. It comes from NASA. We have a photograph on a desk at NASA with a NASA employee, as you're seeing in the image here, showing a massive square structure on the moon. And this photo has been out. We've actually done a video on it in the past. However, it's been a while, and I'm willing to bet that a lot of you don't know about this image. And we're getting new subscribers and new viewers every day who are new to this entire field of research. And so, again, this is, in my opinion, a smoking gun piece of evidence that there are alien bases and structures on the moon. The Apollo astronauts have stated this. They mention structures and objects following them and seeing them while on the moon, lights on the moon, smoke on the moon, and some very anomalous things have been photographed on the moon from ground-based telescopes that we've featured on this channel. Structures with right angles. There have been images in the moon orbiter images, the reconnaissance orbiter photos taken showing these structures. So there's no doubt that they are there, but it's extremely hard to find a high-resolution, up-close image that you can safely say that yes, without debate, without skepticism, this is a structure. This is a building, and that is what I believe we have here. I mean, you look at this image for yourself. Now, as you're seeing, this was a NASA employee at his desk, and you see some moon images underneath his arm, sitting on the desk as he's looking at his computer screen. And this image was taken at a desk of the NASA Ames Research Center. And by the way, we will put the link to the high-resolution full image off of the nasa.gov website, so you can download it yourself and take a look at it. This is not some doctored, photoshopped image. We will send you to the link, and you can see for yourself in all its high-resolution glory. And as you're seeing in this image, as we zoom in, we start to see this massive square building sticking up from the moon. And there are also some other very strange objects in this image. For instance, and these haven't actually been talked about before, there are two very strange triangular shaped structures that you're seeing here, with the yellow arrows pointing down to them, just to the right of this square structure. And by the way, the man in the photo is Anthony Colapret, and he is a scientist for NASA. That's who you're seeing with his arm in the photo, and he still works for NASA today. And another very interesting thing is that this building in this image is located in the same crater that NASA sent a nuclear bomb to explode in 2009 in Cabeus Crater. And again, this picture was taken at the Ames Research Center, supposedly while they were reviewing images for this bombing of the moon. And yes, NASA did drop a small nuclear bomb on the moon in 2009. And they released it online so you could have watched it live. And it's very interesting that we have this image showing this large square structure and other structures. This is a building on the moon. And then NASA suddenly wants to send a nuclear bomb to the exact spot that this building is located. Could it have been a possibility that there was something there? And here is a video we're showing you now of the NASA moon bombing, where they supposedly sent a nuclear bomb to the moon. And I remember even President Obama was out there on the night that this happened. Everybody was out there with their telescopes thinking that they were going to catch this big, massive plume of moon dust flying up in the sky that would be seen. You know, this giant mushroom cloud of regolith that could be seen from Earth-based telescopes. And when the supposed bomb hit, bomb in quotation marks, I know you can't see me doing that with my fingers, but the quotation marks are there, nobody could see anything. There was no massive dust plume, except for a few images that NASA later put out showing what was supposedly the dust plume rising up from this crater. So we don't even know if it was a nuclear bomb. It is a very good possibility that they found this structure, hence the reason why it's on the desk of this NASA scientist. It's a giant square building with right angles. It's a perfect square shape. And what other perfect way to disguise a secret mission to visit this object than to say we are sending a nuclear bomb? For all we know, this could have been a secret manned mission to go and investigate this thing. And they knew that skywatchers on Earth would be able to see this object as it went to the moon. So NASA just comes out and says, hey, this is a nuclear bomb. It's nothing to worry about. And yet again, people were completely dismayed. I mean, it was a complete anticlimax when this so-called bomb went off and there was no dust plume to be seen. And that really made me scratch my head, because I remember that night when they did this. So again, massive square structure on the moon in an official NASA photo. Look at the photo yourself. Visit the link in the video description. And, you know, even if this was a real nuclear bomb that they sent, was this structure a threat? Was the presence of these extraterrestrial bases, and particularly this massive one, which would have to be massive, bombed for a reason during the LRO Lacrosse mission of 2009, which was supposedly carried out to seek water in the crater, and that is Cabeus Crater, once again. So that's supposedly why they sent the nuclear bomb, because they wanted to see if there was water in the crater. Oh, of course. Always a very simple explanation by NASA. Nothing to see here, except for the fact that they slipped up. And they should have blurred out this object in the crater, and they've just released their entire game plan here with this photo. Now we know why they were going. Now we know why all of a sudden they had this massive interest in investigating this crater on the moon. And their big reason for investing millions and possibly billions of dollars into sending a nuclear device to this crater was to find water? Come on. I mean, NASA must think we all must have retard chiseled on our foreheads to believe that. I mean, it's ridiculous. And if you remember, there was a British hacker who broke into NASA and the government's computer system and confirmed, after getting into the USAF and NASA systems, that these buildings are inhabited possibly by military personnel. And that is why these young researchers are looking at it, and that possibly they found this structure abandoned. And, you know, NASA and the government have always talked about putting a base on the moon. Well, what could be better than finding a base, probably a highly advanced base, technologically, on the moon already built, that we could just go and inhabit without having to build one ourselves. Something that we could go and study and see how it was built. And again, back to this British hacker, which is the other topic we want to talk to you about. If you haven't heard of him, his name was Gary McKinnon. And man, this guy really, really pissed off the US government. I mean, they were going to imprison him for life for what he did. So this is Gary McKinnon here in this picture. And he was a Scottish computer hacker who was accused of gaining access to nearly 100 US military and NASA computers and computer systems between 2001 and 2002. And there was a big, long, 10-year legal battle against extradition, because the US wanted him. They wanted him at all costs. They were going to imprison him for life because of what he found. So McKinnon was looking around these computer systems, looking for possible evidence of UFOs or free energy devices or just anything out of the ordinary in these military computers. And he did, in fact, locate that evidence. One of the things he said he found was that he remotely accessed a terminal in Johnson Space Center's Building 8. Stored inside of a folder, he found several giant photographs taken by satellites of, quote, cigar-shaped crafts above Earth. And then he said he found another collection in a separate folder of the same photographs, but that these photographs had been processed and modified, and that these strange objects had been removed and airbrushed out. Now, because this was back in the early 2000s, McKinnon at the time had a slow dial-up connection, internet connection, and was unable to download any of the 200 to 300 megabyte images. And if you remember dial-up internet, it would take days to download something that was 200 or 300 megabytes. So he also found a list, and this is even more awesome. He found a list of, quote, non-terrestrial officers. Terrestrial means Earth. It means on Earth. Terrestrial officers would be our normal officers here on the planet. So can you guess what non-terrestrial officers are? Meaning off-world officers. So McKinnon said that he was able to remotely view a spreadsheet that listed between 20 and 30 names of, quote, non-terrestrial officers. And remember, we were talking earlier about the possibility that there is U.S. military or human military officers in these bases on the moon, and possibly in the square base taken in the desk photo. Now, McKinnon at the time said he wasn't sure if they were aliens, but that he did think that these findings demonstrated proof of a secret U.S. military space battalion, and that the spreadsheet he viewed apparently listed ship-to-ship personnel transfers. So, again, we have this smoking gun photo from NASA showing a massive square base, a building, we'll say that, on the moon. And then we have this laughable explanation that NASA put so much energy and focus into this crater to find water, which is just laughable. So NASA fucked up. Pardon my French. And Gary McKinnon threw an egg on their head after he broke into their computer system and exposed them. So we are living in dark times, people. Dark in the sense that there are a lot of secrets. There's a lot of cover-ups. There's a lot of things the government is covering up. NASA, which is a military arm of the government, by the way, are lying to us, and they have been for quite some time. So if you want the truth, albeit in small crumbs, do subscribe to the Secureteam channel. We will continue to post updates. We will continue to post exposed evidence like this. So be sure to share, like, and subscribe on your way out. Let's get this video out there. And if you're a new subscriber, which I see we've been getting a lot lately, welcome to the channel, and I hope you're ready to have your mind blown. Alright, so thanks for stopping by. Love you guys, and we'll see you back soon.